we're getting into here is this wiring harness. I'm gonna tuck in between the body and the fender, I guess you would say. It's gonna go in this hole right there. And I still need the plug for the light, so that needs to stay up here. Everything else I'm not using, I disconnected this yesterday like you guys saw, and we're just gonna roll with it and see how it goes. I think first things first though, I'm gonna move the car to this spot right behind me here. It's a little bit shadier and it'll just be better to work on, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, so car's moved. I'm gonna go get some tools and we're gonna get into it. So I'm also working on painting something over there. And if you guys think you know what it is, hit me up in the comments, put your Instagram there, and whoever gets it right, I'll give you a follow. All right, so first things first, we're gonna pry this off of here. Okay, that is free moving right now, so we can just pop out this grill. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I also don't have these in, but there's a couple T25 Torx along the fender here. I think there's 4 of them. So you gotta take those off to take the bumper off. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to take off this plastic cover right here. It's just 3, looks like to be T25 Torx bits. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts up top. And then I'm guessing there's gonna be a couple bolts under here inside of the fender liner. So we're gonna have to remove the fender liner. I'm gonna get this wheel off now and we'll be back. Alright guys, so what I ended up doing was taking out the whole fender liner, and that exposes these bolts right here. You know how these cars have rust issues in the quarter panels right here? This thing was caked, I mean caked full of dirt. No wonder, it's just like a trap for dirt right there. I don't have any rust in this quarter panel right now, thank goodness, but man, I mean there was just so much dirt in there. So if you have the chance to take off your fender liners and just clean that out, hose that out, and undercoat it with something, then do it. Okay guys, the bumper's off. The fender's off. What I'm gonna do is get some of this gunk off of here and then spray some rust reformer on the little bit of rust I do have in here. Clean it up with a plastic brush and then spray some undercoating I have in there and just kind of clean all this up in here. But that's the bumper, she's off. So now I can start getting this wire out of here, cut some things up here that need to stay, and then take this panel off and run it down through this hole right there. Something tells me I'm gonna have to make it a little bit bigger. Okay guys, this is the harness. Only thing I need is this plug and this plug. So what I'm gonna do is tape all this up and I'm gonna run it through that hole right there. So I'm gonna get my Sawzall, make a cut here and here so I can make that hole bigger so I can fit this big plug through. I got the harness, it's taped underneath, and then I wrapped it in this pipe and then taped it again just because I'm anal like that, and then wrapped up this in some electrical tape too. So what I'm doing now is loosening up this bolt on the cabin filter. I need to take that out so I can put this harness underneath of it. Hey. Huh? Yeah. That's what we're dealing with right now. Looks like the rain cleared up. Rain was gracious, so we are going to town. By the way guys, try not to not use eye protection whenever you're using power tools and putting a lot of pressure on stuff like that. These are not eye protection, I don't know why I put those on. But I almost lost my eye about 2 years ago, and that was a pretty traumatic experience. And so be smart when you're using power tools and stuff like that. It can have some pretty serious repercussions, you know, just my 2 cents. So what I'm gonna do now is use a wire brush, a toothbrush, and clean up the areas that I just cut and removed the fender from. And then I'm gonna spray the little bit of rust that I have with some rust reformer. And then I also have some undercoating by Rust-Oleum. It's pretty good, pretty thick. I use it on my frame notch and it looks pretty decent. Check it out. That's a frame notch. I mean, it hasn't been a long time, but it's held up pretty good. everything is painted up now. I ended up cutting some more off camera, and then down there, we're looking pretty good. I really didn't care if I got paint on this because I'm gonna be putting side skirts on, but I'm happy with it. I think it turned out pretty good. And I'm not gonna be worried about rust down there for a while now. As you can see, the plug is gonna fit in there perfectly. So that's what we wanted. Now let's run some wires. Would y'all look at this? Look at this blue sky. Come on. It was literally just pouring cats and dogs freaking 20 minutes ago. Now the sun is coming out hard, man. We're gonna get rid of this tray down in here because it's just taking up space. I don't want it in there anymore. Man, if I had one complaint about these lights, I love them, but the plugs are so freaking hard to get undone. Whew. All right, we got that cover out. Here it is. A lot of work for a little bit of progress, but nice and cleaned up in there. But anyways, guys, we're gonna get back into this wire tuck and try and wrap her up. So I was actually able to run the brake line through this hole as well, or the ABS sensor, actuator, whatever thingamajigger. This plug will actually just barely fit through that hole in the inner fender. So I ran it up through where everything else is gonna go. I think we're gonna be able to reuse these two on the strut, and the rest of the harness is through. I just got super excited because I found out where this other wiring harness went. It goes all the way down along the subframe, and it actually is the same wires for the oxygen sensors. So they're super easy to get at. They're at a nice little junction down there. They got a little box, and so what I'm gonna do is take that box off, pull those out of there, and reroute them through the same hole that I put everything else. So that'll get everything out of the bay, which is sick. I'm stoked about that. Heck yeah. All right, so now this is the only thing coming from there. I just tucked her under the box again. Now, this is that harness. Got a lot to work with, and I really want to use some of the existing clips there because they were in really good spots. Side note, I had to go over top of the control arm. I couldn't fit it down underneath. I had to go up and over and through. So we got her all figured out. I ended up going through the hard line for the brakes where this grommet is. Okay, guys, so we got oxygen sensor harness wired up and the ABS harness wired up. That's sick. All right, guys, so the wire tuck is done. Now I just need to put everything back together. Everything reaches to where it's supposed to. Here's the final look at it here. So, boom. So you saw that. And then we got a clamp here. I drilled a hole and put a zip tie there. I reused this holder. It was on the inside right there, but I just flipped it around and reversed it. That gives me my headlight clip. And I think this is for the AC. So these guys are all I needed. This one does reach to the bumper. Guys, look at this pollen. Look at this. Look at it. What is this? We are all finished up. Let me show you how I ran that O2 harness down and over the rail. And it goes right down, right on top of the subframe. We'll go underneath here, down there, right there is where the plugs are. So I wasn't able to reuse this box. This box usually sits right here and houses those sensors, but I had to just fold the wires back. And they tuck right on top of the subframe right here pretty well. It's pretty well out of the way of everything, so I don't think it'll get too cruddy. It just wasn't long enough to reach, so I just zip tied it up here into the heat shield. That was really the only thing that didn't work out as I wanted it to. There was no clearance issues under the fender or anything. That all worked out perfectly. Until next time, guys, have an awesome day. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think of the shave so far? And yeah, peace out.